League of Legends was going to demand the most time. It's probably going to demand the most resources.
Collegiate League of Legends really started with ULOL, which was an initiative with Riot, actually, who's the developer of League of Legends, that helped institute that, and a bunch of different leagues started forming because of that, because Riot is very lax with their API, with their intellectual property.
Hi, Tyler here with a quick update. Soon after we filmed this video, Riot made the announcement that they are going to create their own governing body for Collegiate League of Legends following the decision of the NCAA to choose not to enter into the collegiate space for esports. We know with this decision now that it's going to affect the following leagues, that of AVGL, Collegiate Star League, and ULOL, amongst some other leagues that may pop up. The creation of this governing body means there's going to be consistency for collegiate esports moving into the future. And we're excited to see where this takes us in the future.
So you saw leagues like AVGL, Collegiate Star League, other organizations like that had formative leagues. Right now, C-Star League, Collegiate Star League, is the most popular and most used format, especially for JV play. And at the very high levels of play, CLOL and ULOL are still kind of the omnipotent league for those kinds of programs. The Collegiate Star League, which the club uses for JV teams and such, and the other one for the higher level varsity teams is usually ULOL. At the professional level, league has been one of the most popular sports since season 2. Season 1, the World Championship started as an event at a gaming convention. Fnatic won that, which is a huge organization throughout CSGO, Rainbow Six, League of Legends, Dota, everything, they have it all. And then after that is when it became a real professional sport, essentially. It kind of followed in the wake of StarCraft a little bit, and it was following in the wake of CSGO as well. But it really rose in popularity as the player base grew, as it was fresh, and everybody was like, wow, what's this game? It's great. Especially a lot of Dota fans that moved to the game, because it was different, maybe a little bit simpler to understand, but it's evolved into something that is insanely complex. So when season 2 started is when you had the professional formats and the bigger tournaments, and the Chinese teams and the Korean teams kind of getting involved in the scene, which they reigned supreme for a long time, even to this day. I think only 2 non-Korean teams have ever won Worlds. I could be wrong on that though. I think it might be 3. Modern League of Legends is the largest esport in the world. It's the most popular esport. The viewership numbers are just insane. The last Worlds had 3 times the ratings of the most popular Super Bowl ever. It's just enormous. I think League of Legends is the top esport, but I think Overwatch in the collegiate level is rivaling it, because Overwatch has been popular since these kids have started college, and they might have invested heavily in it when they were freshmen. So they're kind of seeing it through their senior years, and it's very accessible. It's very easy to look at. You can kind of tell what's going on. It's first-person shooter. A lot of people are very used to that. But the MOBA games like Dota and League of Legends, they have a lot more to dive into. So the kids that like that kind of stuff where they can just immerse themselves in it, not saying that Overwatch doesn't have stuff to dive into, but League of Legends is a very layered game.
Layers!
There's 150 some plus champions in the game, so there's a lot to know game knowledge wise. I think it might be the most popular. It hits that crux of popular and complex, I think, right in the centerpiece where it makes it extremely popular. And we're going to be going into it in the fall.
Yeah, so I know for me as a coordinator that I knew that when I launched had helped launching the program, that League of Legends was a game that had to come. It's a pillar of the esport industry, and I knew that when we announced that we were launching with Overwatch and Rocket League, some students may be confused as to why WSU Varsity Esports isn't diving straight into CLOL. And for me, I knew that the game was so complex, and I knew that in terms of building the proper infrastructure, I needed to get here, engage what kind of talent we had on campus, and really kind of build the infrastructure of the program before we moved into a pillar of the esports industry. So in terms of popularity at the collegiate level, I believe that League of Legends is the most popular. I think because of CLOL and because of other major news outlets like ESPN. They even follow the Collegiate League of Legends League, and they write articles about it, and they have rankings that come out weekly, and some of the largest esports schools are mostly involved in CLOL and Overwatch. So for me as a coordinator, I knew that eventually, very quickly, we had to move into League of Legends. It just didn't happen this first semester, but it will be happening in the fall. I know that League of Legends was going to demand the most time. It's probably going to demand the most resources. So in terms of providing students a proper place in which they can sit down, have proper VOD reviews, go over gameplay along with coaches and things like that, I know for us that we didn't necessarily have that infrastructure our first year or our first semester. And knowing that, moving into the space, we would be moving into a space that we were ill-prepared for, and so our students wouldn't experience a whole lot of success. So having the ability as a coordinator to take a semester and to explore the collegiate esports landscape, really try and understand what the students need at the micro level in terms of the day-to-day. What do they need for a VOD review? Do they need a space? Do they need computers? Do they need a whiteboard? Do they need a projector screen? There are a lot of factors to consider, and then do we have that space? Is the college doing, or is the school doing enough to build a space for them to explore these maps and go over VOD reviews, and a lot of different things needed to happen before I believe we were ready to move into League of Legends.
There's a lot of competition. Being such a popular sport, there's so many people that just actively play the game. Number two is the threshold for competition and qualifying for a team, which is usually above gold, and teams at the highest levels of play, I mean, that's the top 0.1% of the game. Teams like Columbia or UCF and Pepperdine and stuff like that, they have challenger players and they have masters players. So it takes so much time and effort and dedication and constant work to maintain a rank of that level. And at that level, you're playing against professionals. At that level, you're playing against the guys in the professional academies, you're playing against the semi-pros, you're playing against the popular streamers. So it's really just 8 hours a day sometimes of league, if that's what your goal is.
Mm-hmm. I knew that along with going to class and studying and just being an actual student and having a social life, that there needed to be proper infrastructure built in for them. So when they're scheduling their classes, they know that, okay, on Monday, Wednesday from 5 to 7, that's practice for league, and so possibly even longer depending on the demand. So I know that just in terms of just the basic infrastructure for a League of Legends player, it's going to differ from that of possibly a Rocket League player or a CSGO player or a Smash player or something like that.
You want to do all these things in college, and it's like, well, how do we build a program that is competitive but also makes them, human beings as well?
For the collegiate arena, I would assume that it's the most. I mean, Overwatch has a large purse in terms of scholarshiping through TESPA.
I know for CSL, for the JV teams even, it's like the top team gets $1,500 in scholarship money, and then that's divvied up between the players, and then they get peripherals for free as well.
Sure. So there are a lot of schools that you'll kind of hear over and over again that are pillars of the collegiate esports scene, and so for us, typically, I mean, that just coincides with how long they've been a program. Also, typically means that they're going to have a strong infrastructure of students that compete at a very high level. So you might find a couple of schools here every now and then that maybe only have one title that's very, very good, but for the most part, it's going to be those programs that have been around for a while. But yeah, I would say those are probably the schools that come to mind initially.
The most impressive league player that I've seen at the collegiate level, it was the top laner for Columbia College. He was just a monster. That dude was just crazy. That guy was nuts.
I know the potential it has and the notoriety that it can bring to a university because of the popularity of the title. There needs to be proper infrastructure for these students, so I know that we have a lot of students that currently play in the club, and without them even knowing, I know students are prepared in terms of just playing the game, because there is a large group of students in the club, outside of the club, that we may not even know about, that are very passionate about League of Legends. And I think that in terms of putting esports on the map, putting Wichita State esports on the map, I think League of Legends can do that for us. So I think it's crucial in terms of, we chose Overwatch this semester because I knew what we had on campus. I knew we had a lot of talent in that gaming title. So I knew having one of those pillars was going to be very crucial to kind of putting us on the map. And I know League of Legends is kind of that next step in terms of really providing validity for the program. Talking about it, there were a couple of students in there that overheard, and they said they were very passionate about League of Legends and they played League of Legends, and I asked if they were a part of the Shocker Gaming Club, and they weren't. So I know that just because the game reaches across so many different entities across campus and touches, you know, so many different people, that we don't know what's currently on campus, and we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out here in
that's
the
what's
next
exciting.
couple of days. So
it's super exciting. That's what the most exciting part is, like when we announce something and these kids just kind of come out of the woodwork to come play. That's
also
really cool.
incoming freshmen.
Yeah.
That's also something to consider as well. I get emails all the time, and I do my best to ensure that I respond to everybody in terms of, no, we don't offer this gaming title just yet, but you know, if you come to Wichita State, I can guarantee you that we have a strong club infrastructure that will take care of your needs initially until we figure out what that's going to look like for the varsity entity. But incoming freshmen, if they are a full-time student there, they will be allowed to try out as well. So once again, people who aren't even currently on campus will play a role in determining who's going to be on the team.
I don't see it going away anytime soon, for sure.
Once again, it's one of the most popular games in the industry. So just in terms of pushing the needle for more student involvement, I think that's going to play a huge role, because we're going to have a section of students that are in the club that will possibly, and most likely, become a part of the varsity entity, and then that's going to allow more room for more teams to be a part of the club. So not only will we have a varsity team, but we'll also have club teams underneath that. So if you're a student that's looking to get plugged in and involved with League of Legends at Wichita State, or if you're an incoming freshman, you can see that information on our website and you know that, okay, we have a varsity League of Legends team, but we also have club information down below it. So I can, as an incoming freshman, know that my needs are going to be taken care of in terms of coming to school here, getting a good degree, you know, going about the process the right way, and then also being able to play League of Legends against other schools at a very high level. So once again, I can't express how crucial it is to enter into the space, because it's such a big game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the biggest game. I don't know. I mean, Overwatch is big, but it's the one.
I think the thing about League that's so good for Wichita State and any campus really is that it allows us to function as a kind of a tiered group. Like, we have the varsity team, which is going to be the high level team, and then we have other teams that function in the club at the lower level, maybe instructive, all the way up to like gold average, platinum average teams. So it allows us to diversify and allows us to offer a lot of opportunities that aren't there in other games.
Yeah. So I mean, if you were wondering, I mean, you could have League of Legends that can encompass between club and varsity close to 25 students, 25,
for
30
sure.
students. And right now we only have 11 varsity players total. So in terms of involvement, you're going to just see that number grow and grow and grow. So whenever other administrators from other schools or people reach out to me asking why is esports valuable at the collegiate level, I believe because of student involvement, it's extremely valuable. And then once we add League of Legends to it on top of that, that's only going to add another layer of importance, I guess.
I think if you are looking to get into the collegiate esports scene, first find out what the resources are on your campus for that, and find out what their rank thresholds are and meet those. Because of the size of the ladder in League of Legends, I think rank is a pretty good descriptor of how much game knowledge or mechanical skill that you have.
Yeah, for sure. I think rank is very important, but also I think if you're thinking about coming to Wichita State, we are in a unique position in terms of you could be one of the first to be on the varsity team, and if you don't make it, you can be a part of the club entities as well. But I would argue that in terms of competition and on to getting onto the team, you as an incoming student have a unique opportunity to not only make the team, but be a part of the team for close to 3 or 4 years, depending on where your status as a student. So You know, you can very easily check out other schools that have been around for a long time, like Columbia, like Maryville, who have, you know, robust League of Legends programs. Or you can kind of look at Wichita State and say, that's a great school. They have a great degree path that I'm interested in, but also I know their League of Legends team is coming. I can try out for that, and there's a good possibility that I could make it because this is their first year. So just in terms of getting onto the actual team, I think there's a lot of really good opportunity for that, as opposed to other schools where you might experience a lot more competition just to simply even get an opportunity to try out or fill a role or something like that.
Some of the kids that have come in that were playing sort of casually or whatever, and they're like, oh, I'm a gold Rocket League player, a platinum Rocket League player, and sometimes when you come into the structure, you just instantly improve just because whether it's a mentality or equipment or just playing and getting better in general, like these guys improve like crazy, and that's really fun to see.
Let's say we might have a League of Legends team that does vary in terms of rank just initially, and so I know for that Rocket League player, he felt a sense of responsibility to get to that level that his peers were at, and it wasn't something that I forced upon him. It wasn't something that I said you needed to get to Diamond 3 by April 17th. It was more along the lines of that player looking at his peers and feeling a sense of responsibility, and so I always keep coming back to the lessons that you can learn through playing through esports. And so whenever parents and teachers and administrators ask me, where does the value lie in terms of playing esports, even at the collegiate level? Well, traditional sports is an avenue in which I can improve myself as a person, and so I believe that esports is also another avenue in which I can take those same types of skills and learn and develop. And League of Legends it's a lot of critical thinking.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of reaction, it's a lot of communication with your teammates, and it's one of the most difficult games there is. And so in terms of how do I process information very quickly, how do I communicate with my teammates in very tight situations, I think those are skills that are invaluable, and it's a type of applied learning that you may not get at other schools. So. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and click on the link below.